4-2-5, okay? All a 4-2-5 is, it is a cross between a 4-4 and a 4-3. That's all it is. It's a nickel package, okay? So TCU, Gary Patterson is supposed to be known as the guy who came up with this whole concept where, you know, he hated being the 4-3 and then adding a nickel guy and taking this guy out and doing personnel shit. Because all offenses now, they take the same personnel and then they'll get in all these crazy formations with the same personnel. So basically what they did is they kind of had a hybrid where they took these different outside linebackers and made them safeties. They're not their true outside linebackers. They're not just going to flat drop every time. They're guys that can actually cover man-to-man. And you know, they can also play high, they can play low, they can blitz off an edge. They're kind of your universal soldier. So as you look at it, we have a 4-man front. One thing important in a defense like this is that every symbol on our board has a different signal. You don't have two ends, you don't have two tackles. Okay, this will play in a little bit later as we get talking about it. We have an end. Your end is going to be your true end, your bigger guy, you know, that can play in the face of a tight end, that's very athletic, still has some pass rush move stuff. Your 3 technique is still going to be your stud, okay? He's going to get most of the 1-1 blocks because they double the nose on pass protections. Your nose is going to be your biggest guy. I mean, he's going to be a block of granite. Most of the times he's sitting in that A gap. Your attack end is basically your pass rush free, okay? You don't like him covered up double tight. You're like, oh shit. Hopefully he can hold his own there, but he's more your free pass type guy. So you got a lot of different body types you can kind of throw in there. It's not just, hey, you're an end. Your Sam is more your stout inside linebacker, kind of the guy who's going to be mostly in the A gap, not as much pass stuff, because if you look at these 3 guys as linebackers, he's more your Mike linebacker in your 4-3. Your Mike, we call Mike, he's more your B-gap defender. He's going to be added into coverage more and flexed out when they start breaking formation and adding doubles. Okay, so he's got to be more your faster linebacker with your Mike. Your B right here is going to be basically your prototypical strong safety. Most of the time he's going to be covering a curl flat. He's going to be blitzing off the edge, but he can also come out here and play man-to-man against a detached number 2. Your free safety, prototypical free safety, we play with the field. You can play with the right or read side and away side corner. We play with a field corner or boundary corner. Okay, our cover guy is tiny guy, great feet, though we stick him in the boundary because we'll play more main coverage into the boundary since we are a split coverage defense. Our Hornet's kind of the universal soldier. He can play high. If they want to break this formation with trips, he can play high to get to more of a 4-3 look, or he can play low, he can blitz off it. He can do everything that this guy does and this guy does, okay? So that just kind of gives you a little mindset of where we're coming from. So that's how a 4-2-5 looks to a 2-man set. When we break formation, they get to a 1-man set. Basically, all we do is we drop that universal soldier we call a Hornet. Okay, just for lack of better words, when I was in Florida State, their mascot was a Hornet, so we call them Hornet. Okay, so think of some letters that you can make some names off of it later on. So basically, you can drop here and play. Basically, you have 3-on-2 right here. You have 3-on-2 over here, and then he's reading off of the final 3 guys. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. So that's basically the gist of things. People say, why a 4-2-5? Why is it so good? What do you like about it? It's a nickel defense. It's very fast and aggressive. I'll show you the progression here in a little bit. It's a cross between a 4-4 and a 4-3 is all it is. It's easy adjustments and formations because you're a nickel package. You got 5 D-backs on the field at all times. Okay, so it's very easy to formation adjust to. We have good blitz angles. It is a gap control defense. We're going to ask you to control 1 gap, we'll never 2 gap. Okay, right now we're running a 3-4. Sometimes we ask that nose a 2 gap. We never do that in the 4-2-5. You have good angles to set edges on. What Jim was talking about, you know, keeping the outside arm leg free a lot of times, and they run them up to mom up in the stands. That's some of the stuff that we kind of do. Allows us to run a split coverage in the back end, and it allows us, if you think about it, to run a 4-4 or 4-3. We can get in, I'll show you how we can do a 3-3 stack very easy and a 3-4 very easy, out of the same personnel. Okay, because your attack end, remember, he's your pass rush guy. Okay, he's kind of your freak, kind of your guy that can kind of do a lot. Okay, he's oversized linebacker, maybe, if you will. He can drop easily in the middle in the 3-3 stack. He can take his hand off him and play detached a little bit in the flex into the boundary, covering limited area and getting that 3-4. And we've done all these. In college, it's different because every week you're facing some crazy offense and all this RPO shit, and they're spreading you out now. So, if they're multiple, you got to be multiple nowadays. I mean, in college, they're putting up 500 to 600 yards a game. I mean, holy shit, using a team to 300 yards of offense, you're like, good game, man. Now you hold the team to 500 yards off, it's like, not bad, okay? So it is crazy, and, talking, we just at the National Coaching Convention, talking to some of my friends who are like, and their D coordinators are like, this fucking game sucks, man, I ain't doing something. This is crazy. I mean, the offenses, we're putting up 600 yards on our offenses, and we're third in our league with 600 yards of offense. He goes, it's just nuts. But this is Gary Patterson, if you ever see anything with him, this is how he talks. What they try to do when they recruit or they have guys, they try to make aggressive corners safeties, okay? So it's kind of like the natural progression coming down. The stiff safeties, go make them linebackers. The oversized linebacker, make them end. And we've had some great defensive ends that are oversized linebackers. That's all they were. It's like, God, you're stiff, but I tell you what, you put your hand off that edge, you're pretty good. Because you're going from fast to being, or from slow to being fast real quick. Oversized D ends, we stick at D tackles. And then our biggest guys, those that they can't make it there, they're probably offensive linemen. No D-line wants to hear that. Okay? Hints before we get started. I'm just going to throw a couple up here real quick. Each position has its own symbol. We talked about that. All you're doing here in this whole system is just creating your language. Okay? This is Patterson's big thing. And we spent hours in staff meetings. Like, we come up with some new concept. There better be a reason for why we call it that. It's got to trigger something in the mind. I hate just coming up with words. Let's call it Pinocchio. Why do you pick that? I don't know, just a word. So I'm just not a believer in that. I'm an elementary education major by trade, and I want word association. Create a language. So we do words. Use words that associate and acronyms. Be able to explain why you named it. So when a kid comes in the room, hey, we got this new blitz and we're calling it Okie Cross. Why are you calling it that? Okay, explain why we're calling it that. Teach concepts. One words that direct multiple people. Teach a concept and developing blitzes. That's just going to be creating a sentence. And then I'll tell you about our watch that we use. We call it a watch. It's a wristband basically. And how it all works. That's our book. And then we have to understand adjustments and when to use them. So here's what I'm going to bust through real quick. I'm going to tell you everything, our whole playbook. And I got PowerPoints up the yazoo of every little detail. We got drills on every little detail. I've been doing this coaching this defense for like 15 to 16 years. So you name it, I got it on this defense. We just don't run anymore. So we're talking about front stunts, twists, blitzes, and then coverages, and breeze through a lot of this stuff.